So we'll get started. I'll introduce myself first. My name's Kayla. I'm one of the program managers here at IVHQ. I've been here for about 8 years, and I absolutely love my job and working for IVHQ. And today we're going to chat a little bit about some of the programs we have in Latin America and the Caribbean, specifically 2 destinations in Peru, Lima and Cusco. And then we're going to chat about Jamaica and our most recent and exciting addition to the program offering, and that is Trinidad and Tobago. So Anshuli and Terry from our community team are joining us today. Both of them have recently returned from volunteer trips to these destinations. So we'll be able to chat with them a little bit about their experience on the program, and they'll be able to help with questions as well as we go. So just a brief overview before we kick things off. We're going to start with Latin America, and Anshuli is going to talk to us a little bit about her program experience in Lima. That's where she visited her first week, and then her second week was in Cusco at our program there. And then we'll take some questions. I'll help out by answering some of them from the programs team perspective, and then Anshuli will be able to connect about her specific experience in country. And then we're going to jump over to Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, and then chat, have a brief Q&A there. We'll chat through the fees that are associated with our program, and then how you guys can apply. And then if there's any outstanding questions towards the end, if we have time, we'll definitely get to those. But like I said, keep your questions in the chat, and if for some reason we don't get to them, we'll be able to connect with you outside of this webinar as well. Cool. All right, so we're going to kick things off with Lima, Peru. Anshuli, can you tell us a little bit about your recent trip?
Thanks, Kayla. Hello, welcome everybody. I'm really excited to tell you about my trip to Peru. I just returned back about just over a month ago, and honestly, it was the best 2 weeks. So I spent a week in Lima and a week in Cusco. So we'll get into a little bit about Lima first. So Lima is the capital city of Peru. It's a huge city and a huge region, and it's very diverse. I think that's one of the first things I really noticed about Lima. You go and you have sort of big city vibe, but it also feels as intimate as a small town. I don't know how else to explain it, but there's just this duality, which is amazing about Lima. And so there's a few different places that you can explore and see. It's a coastal town, so you can head to the cities around there. There's some great little suburbs where you feel like you're a Peruvian just walking around, part of the community there, and there's so much history there, but it's not overwhelming. You also get a sort of the best of both worlds, I feel, with Lima. And so the local team and the accommodation in Lima. So the local team, we've been working with them for as long as I can remember, I think, since we kicked off our program in Lima, and they are an amazing group of people. They really take the time to sort of put you under their wing and make sure that you're comfortable, you've got everything sorted, you can reach out to. There's a few different accommodation options, but the first one you would be staying in a volunteer house. And if you're interested, or perhaps you're going with a family, or you're going as a group, you can be housed in a homestay as well. So that's also an option. And the meals, so the local team take care of that too. So with the volunteer house, you have this lovely cook who comes and provides all the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you get 3 meals, Monday to Friday, and they come in these cute little containers. Now, you spend, I'll get a bit more into the volunteering side of things, but outside of your volunteering hours, you get the lunch is sort of ready for you on the table, and then dinner's just in the fridge whenever you're ready to have it. So it's just sort of up to you how you want to have that. And in the volunteer house, they're pictured there. You can see that it's bunk bed style accommodation, but they're relatively comfortable. you have to remember that you obviously volunteering. We're not going to be staying at like 5-star hotels, but you'll definitely get comfortable bedding and accommodation. And there's some really great shared spaces, especially in the volunteer house as well, which is where I got to stay. It's sort of 4 levels, and at the top level, there's a kitchen, a lounge, there was a TV. It was a great place for the volunteers to sort of hang out. On the night that I arrived, the volunteers that were there were doing a cute little paint session and had like these little canvases and were doing little paintings for each other. It was honestly adorable, and it's a very cute little space. And it's located in the suburb of San Miguel, and so really close to it is the Plaza San Miguel, which is a shopping center. So all your essentials are very close and nearby. So within like 10 to 15 minute bus ride, and even maybe 15 to 20 minute walk. It's not very far at all. It's very easy to get around in Lima. So the projects that we have on offer, so we have 6 really cool projects in Lima. So they're childcare, animal care, construction and renovation, teaching English, community support, which covers a bunch of different things, and medical outreach. So I managed to sort of visit all the different areas in which we work. Majority of our projects in Lima are based in Pachacutec, which is about an hour and a half bus ride outside of the central location where you're staying. But everything's so affordable, and it's you don't ever go anywhere by yourself. So the coordinators, they meet you, they take you, they go with you to the projects. You're always really supported in Lima. And with the projects, you're sort of placed where the need is the most. So there's a few different schools and childcare centres that we work quite closely with. You can see, for example, in the childcare photo on the slide, one of the volunteers was at a kindergarten, and they were making these cute little paper hats one of the afternoons when I went to visit. Just cutting things up, pasting things together, sticking little diamante stickers onto them, and they ended up giving us a few as well, which was a beautiful thing. Visiting the animal care project, so it's based in a dog shelter that we work with quite closely, and there's currently maybe about 10 or so dogs there, and what you're doing is sort of helping them get socialized, taking them for walks, helping them with the feeding, and they're actually the cutest bunch of dogs I met while I was there. They're just so lovely, and actually surprisingly dogs were very welcoming. So if you're very interested in working with animals, I highly recommend the animal care project. And then the teaching English, again, working in school. So you can work with, there's a few different age ranges that we work with, sort of that intermediate, I don't know if they call it intermediate, about the sort of 10 to 12-year-old range up to about 16, 17. So it can vary. And I think the sort of amount of teaching that you do does depend a little bit on your level of Spanish. So you'll always have the coordinators with you as well. But if you are fluent in Spanish, you might get a little bit more wiggle, take a few little parts of the class yourself. And on the medical outreach, so if you're a medical professional keen to sort of give some of your expertise, learn about medical systems in different countries, our medical projects really go and in Pachacutec, in the market spaces. So it's quite an open area where you're just doing a few of the basic things, doing things like checking blood pressure, height and weight, giving them just a bit of a checkup, how things are working. The sort of medical healthcare facilities and system in Peru is a bit of an interesting beast, and but every volunteer, really, it's very helpful. We also went to visit one of the clinics that we work with, and they just absolutely love having support from the volunteers, the different things that they learn from, what the medical volunteers have learned at home, and how they can teach them what they learn and how they adjust to what they have to work with in Lima. It's just a really cool thing to see. And then with the construction and renovation projects, so that one, again, it's where the need is the most, but we sort of help out with some of the other areas where we have projects in. So you could be repainting some of the walls at one of the kindergartens, doing murals. You could be building an extension to the animal shelter so more dogs can be housed there. You could be, helping out at a women's shelter. So part of the community support, we also work with a women's shelter. Now this project is actually a bit closer to the city, the area where you'll be staying, and you can also do a bit of the teaching English and childcare projects there as well. So there's a few different places where you'll be sort of situated, and all of them really do need your help. So we really do work with areas where your skills are put best to use. And then with free time activities, so this is only even some of the things that you can do. As I mentioned, it's a huge city, and that's not even talking about sort of the region of Lima itself. It's so vast. I was lucky enough to do a full day tour while I was there, and so got to sort of get outside of the central city and visit Paracas and Huacachina. I don't know if anyone's heard of Huacachina, but if you haven't, you really should have, and add it to your bucket list. It's basically a little desert oasis in the middle of nowhere with these dunes, and you just feel like you're somewhere in maybe Egypt or Morocco or the Middle East, but you're actually still in Peru. It's the most like mind-blowing thing I've seen, and it's just this beautiful, like, serene vibe there. So if you get a chance, 100%, I would recommend going to do this tour. But also the city itself has so much that you can do. You can just walk around the different neighborhoods, and they all have such a different vibe, such an eclectic collection of, suburbs and architecture and, street art, and just the people. Like, everyone's just so lovely. And a few other things that I did. So I mentioned Plaza San Miguel, which is like a little shopping center close to where you'll be staying. There's also a bigger shopping center, La Comar, if you like a good shopping center vibe. It's a very good little shopping center in this sort of fancier area of Miraflores. There's water fountains, and honestly, these water fountains would give the Trevi Fountain a run for its money, because you've got Trevi Fountain is, like this gorgeous architecture, but it's just one fountain. No offense to the Trevi Fountain, but the water fountains in Lima, there's so many different ones and different kinds, and they have light shows. And there's this one with like a long sort of strip of fountains, and you can stand there at certain times, and they put on a full show with the history of Lima and the music and the light projected on it, and it's just such an amazing experience. I 100% recommend going to that as well. And then the Peruvian dance show, so the Brisas del Titicaca is the name of the place, and if you want to experience the culture, like, really in there, and what Peruvian people like, especially when they're, letting loose and having a good time, 100% I would say go to the Brisas del Titicaca and get in there, dance. They show you the different dance styles of the region. There's sort of 4 main ones, and they have influences from different areas. But then they have a band that plays like in the middle of these different sets, and everyone's just having such a great time, and it's such a great experience. And you also have these great like local markets, and you can do city tours. There was catacombs and castles. There's just so many great and amazing things to do. And I managed to pack a lot of it into a week, but if I could have stayed longer to do more of it, I definitely would have. The thing to note that I want to just add to this one is that you can also do, the big Peruvian, bucket list items from as well. So, don't feel like you only have to go to Cusco if you want to do Machu Picchu. We offer ways to get to there from Lima and from Cusco. So, I went to Cusco, which I will talk about in just a minute, but you also have the option to go through when you volunteer in Lima. And then we'll just get right into Cusco. So Cusco, after spending a lovely week in Lima, I managed to go and visit Cusco. And Cusco, I think, the moment you walk in, you kind of hit with the history of Cusco and Peru and the Incas. There's a lot of the original architecture. It's very different from Lima, where everything looks more similar because, they're trying to hold on to a lot of the history of the place. it's, you know, famous for like the different trails. There's some great ruins that you can go visit. There's a few structures over there, and of course, you know, it's a great starting point for Machu Picchu, Rainbow Mountain, Lake Titicaca. I'll get into that a little bit soon. And then just the culture itself. I would say that Cusco feels a little more touristy than Lima, but not in a bad way. It's everyone's just so ready and to explore and to sort of see and take in, you know, the different historic sites. It doesn't feel like, you know, somewhere where it's touristy and everyone's just, you know, ignoring each other. Everyone's really taking in all that Cusco has to offer. So, you know, if you're really wanting to sort of throw yourself into a history of a place, then I would recommend Cusco as the place to do it. So again, we have an amazing local team in Cusco as well. So, you know, like sort of pick you up from the airport, you know, take you to the headquarters, show you where you'll be staying. So again, with Cusco, you have the volunteer house, which is the sort of main accommodation. There's some great little, you know, shared areas there. The picture on the bottom in the middle is actually the view from the top of the volunteer house. It's about 4 or 5 stories. It's just a lovely view, and I managed to go on a nice sunny day, so it was just amazing to sort of look out into the city. Yeah, so you have the different rooms, and then they have some nice comfortable beds as well. No bunks here, so you know, if you're not super keen on bunks, then maybe Cusco's the way to go. And yeah, but you also have a homestay upgrade. And I was lucky enough to stay with a homestay, and my host family was just the loveliest, loveliest people, and it was just so nice. So the meals you can see are what I had when I was there, which was the homestay family. Obviously, if you're at the volunteer house, it's slightly different. With the volunteer house, you know, you're all sort of staying together in these different rooms, and then there's the kitchen, which has, you know, all the essential things that you need. Tea, coffees, or water even, everything's right there. And then the local team, you know, there's a few different sort of coordinators, and again, they're just very helpful, very lovely, very easy to approach if you have any questions, any concerns. You know, they take you through a lot of everything that you really need to know at orientation. Same with Lima, which I forgot to mention, but you'll sort of get everything that you need to know at orientation. But if you've forgotten something, or if you just want to clarify anything, the local team's always there and happy to answer your questions. They give you all the contact information that you need, so you don't need to worry about any of that. So in Cusco, we actually have 12 projects that we offer. So they range from quite a few different things, and I managed to visit pretty much all of them except the Amazon jungle conservation. The only reason I wasn't able to go and see that one is because it's another 10 hours to get there from where I was. But everything I've heard about the jungle conservation one, you know, if you're wanting to sort of experience the Amazon and sort of cut off from, you know, the world with not as much, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Technology free.
Yeah, basically, and really like experience they have to offer, then that's a really great project to do that. Another one that's really good to do that is the Andean immersion. So we work with a local family in a province called Umasbamba, and that's the picture that's shown on the slide. And I managed to meet the cutest couple, and they host all our volunteers at their house. You spend, you know, the sort of day living like they do there, which is a very simple lifestyle, but you know, you sort of work with them in the morning. You can help do some of the weaving with Rafaela, who's the mum here, and then, you know, the dogs, there's like little dogs and animals around. There's guinea pigs and pigs. There's a whole bunch of different animals, and then you sort of go up and work in the different fields. And during the time that I was there, some volunteers had just finished up, and they been planting potatoes, which was really cool. So I got to go see where they were set up and planting these potatoes, and they do this very sweet thing where they sing to the potatoes, and they play flutes to the potatoes to just encourage them to be good potatoes. Honestly, if I could play the flute, I would totally join them. That was the sweetest thing I'd seen. And then we have So we have animal care projects as well. So we have 3 different locations that we work in. There's an alpaca farm, a dog shelter, and a zoo that sort of sits within a university that we work with. And so I managed to visit the zoo. And the really unique thing about the zoo is that it's not your sort of standard zoo that you'd go to sort of, see animals and just sort of gawk at them. This one, they take in basically rescue exotic animals that someone in Peru, because the rules there are a little bit more lax. Some people, if they have the money, decide that they want to have some exotic pets, and then after a while they decide they don't want them anymore. But then, there's these poor animals that probably shouldn't have been tried to be domesticated with nowhere to go, because you can't really reintroduce them into the wild. So this zoo is really just there trying to provide like a nice life for them, and really take care of them. And when you're volunteering there, you get to sort of help feed them and clean up, and just interact with some of these animals. There's monkeys, there's a bear, there's llamas, alpacas, there's a peacock and a peahen. So yeah, there's a few different animals there, and I think volunteers really love it. It's a really unique experience. But I also really love the alpaca farm. So I know a lot of people think Peru and think alpacas, and if that's more your cup of tea, then definitely go lean that way. When you apply, you can sort of let us know which one you're most interested in, and we do our best to sort of place you in those areas. And then Christmas holiday experience. Actually, Kayla, do you want to talk about the Christmas holiday experience, just because I wasn't able to visit that?
Yeah, definitely. So what I'd say about the projects you can see on this page is the Andean Immersion Project and the Christmas Holiday Experience. They're more of an immersion experience. I mean, there's still volunteer opportunities on those particular ones, but Andean Immersion specifically, you're really living life, like Anshuli said, day to day alongside the local family. And we partner with a few families in that area, but it is much more a cultural immersion experience versus volunteer specific work. The Christmas holiday experience is an awesome fusion of projects, because over the Christmas and New Year period, a lot of placements shut down because of the holidays, or there's quite a few disruptions. So our team has put together this 2-week schedule. You can join for 1 or 2 weeks from December 18th, I believe it is this year. And it's a nice fusion of projects. So one day you might be doing a renovation project. The next you might be working with an animal shelter, followed by, a holiday party for the elderly in an elderly care home, working with children the following day. So it's a really nice mix of opportunities and a way to give back to the local community through volunteering. And, sometimes volunteers hear the word holiday party and they think, how am I contributing, in a volunteer sense? But in a lot of these cases, because we're working in such low income communities, I had an example. I spoke to the local team the other day, and they said last year, most of the kids that were recipients of, small gifts at this time through that sort of Christmas event day, they had never received a present before in their life. And for them, that's really life-changing. And to be able to learn English a little bit informally in those circumstances is quite profound. And so it might sound like, a lot of fun, and it is, but it's also really, really meaningful to the community. So that is a great opportunity to have a fusion of experiences if you have a short period of time over the holidays.
Exactly. And then, we have obviously childcare, teaching English, special needs care, and then we have a medical and dentistry project. We also have medical campaign groups, but these are specific to groups of 8 or more. So, medical students maybe wanting to all go together, and they can reach out to our group team to sort of organize that for them. So the childcare, again, work in a few different sort of schools or after school programs, and you sort of helping them with maybe homework sometimes, or you could be sort of teaching them English with the Teaching English project. And, you know, it might be sort of basics in terms of the alphabet and basic phrases, and, you know, a bit of numbers thrown in there sometimes as well. But it just, again, depends on your level of, you know, if you have any Spanish, if you have any teaching experience, you sort of, everyone, your skills are used to the best advantage. And obviously with dentistry and medical, it'll be if you have some sort of dentistry or medical background that you can join these projects. But yeah, reach out to us if you're interested in any of those. Free time activities, and there's also so much to do in Cusco. Now, I didn't do Machu Picchu until the end of my trip. It was literally, I think, the last day before I flew home, but it was the absolute highlight. And I know everyone thinks, you know, oh, it might be overrated, everyone hypes it up too much. No, it's absolutely worth it. Like 100%. Machu Picchu does not have a bad angle. Every, you know, step of the journey, it's just an amazing experience. So there's a few different ways that you can do Machu Picchu, and it really depends on the amount of time that you had. So because I was limited in time, I did the full day tour, but you don't really miss out on anything. You know, it's a bit of an earlier start, and then, you know, you sort of a bus to a train to the destination, another little bus to the top, and then you walk up and then you get to Machu Picchu. But they really do, you know, let you utilize the full day there. So it's 100% worth it. There's also an overnight option, and I believe there's the full 4 to 5 day trek that you can do as well. So, you know, it just depends on your sort of level of fitness, interest, how much time you have, but I 100% recommend, if you're anywhere in Peru, do Machu Picchu. Now, I didn't get a chance to do it, but we also offer Rainbow Mountain, Lake Titicaca, the Moray and Mira salt mines. Now, I have met a few volunteers who did a few of these, and they were raving about them as well. And they'd done Machu Picchu, and they said all of them were amazing. So my recommendation would be, if you're going to Peru, add a couple of days either side, at least, if not a week or so, to just do as much of the activities as you can. It's 100% worth it. And then the day I went there, you know, we were sort of like lower season, and it was like a bit cloudy, but that doesn't deter from the experience at all. So I think it's, again, good on any day. There's also sort of the general city tours, so there's city and market tours. The local team puts on little social events as well, and I did a salsa class with them, which was really fun, with my 2 left feet, but that was okay. And you know, if you really want to, you can take Spanish lessons as well. It's a really great way to sort of, you know, pick up with the language while you're sort of in Peru. You can also go visit the alpaca farm and do horseback riding. There's so many free time activities that you can do. And honestly, I recommend just taking the time and doing all of them. I can't recommend any of them enough.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Anshuli. That sounds like the trip of a lifetime, and very cool that you got to experience both destinations in one go. What I will say, just on the back of what Anshuli's mentioned about those tours, we definitely recommend booking those in advance of your arrival, particularly like sort of the hot topic ones like Machu Picchu, Rainbow Mountain. For both of these destinations, because they are separate programs, we have a variety of, we call them add-ons here at IVHQ, and you can add those to your profile once you are registered for the program. For the Machu Picchu specific ones, we do recommend, if you're going to Cusco, really any of the tours, we recommend you wait at least a week until you book the tours, because, and we'll get to this, there's a few questions coming through about altitude, but it does sometimes take people a bit of time to adjust to the altitude. So for that sort of destination in particular, waiting either until the end of your program, or if you're going for a few weeks, that first weekend or second weekend, etc., is usually a better option so you can acclimatize. But in either destination, these add-on options for your spare time just sound absolutely amazing. So thank you for sharing your experience with us. The photos are incredible. Everything sounds incredible. So we're just going to touch on a few questions that have come through in the last little while. I'll touch on the first one, which we sort of mentioned, and that's altitude. So the altitude in Cusco, I believe, is around 3,400 meters. I believe, give or take. So yeah, it's definitely something to factor into your trip. Something that we can offer as a program is once you arrive, the local team has special teas and coca leaves that you can sort of use to acclimatize and just sort of, they tend to help get rid of that nauseous feeling. But typically after a couple of days, that goes away, and it certainly doesn't happen to everybody. I'm personally prone to altitude sickness, unfortunately, but Anshuli, what was your experience like?
I think I was one of the lucky ones. It kind of, as I landed and then sort of walked out within the first hour, I felt it. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is what people talk about when they say altitude sickness. And for me, it was sort of this heavy feeling and just very tired and, didn't want to eat anything, just wanted to sort of lie down and sleep it off. And I managed to, I think the best sort of advice that I had when I was there, and even beforehand, was, making sure you're hydrated, because it's surprising how much that impacts how you feel when you're up there, and getting the rest. So if if you're going to Cusco and you need that time, head there a couple of days, ideally, before your project start day, so you can have that time to sort of, to get used to walking around and taking the sort of picture and the altitude there. And then after a day or so, I was fine. It was only when I was walking up the stairs that I would get, puffed out after 5 or 10 steps and just be like, I know I'm not this unfit, but it's just the altitude. So you kind of adjust to it. And I met a few people who, they were saying that even after 2-3 months, sometimes just like the really steep, anything that's deep might still, puff you out, but other than that, nothing really bothers you after a couple of days, a week or so.
Yeah, and there's lots of supplements that you can talk to your doctor about before you leave, and natural supplements, things like that. So definitely worthwhile, no matter where you're traveling, to touch base with a travel doctor before you head off.
Yeah.
Another question that's come through is about splitting between Lima and Cusco. Now, these are two separate programs, so you're more than welcome to do them back to back, but they do require separate applications. They're different local teams, different program offerings entirely. So they are, separate from one another, but we have so many volunteers that like to utilize the fact that everything is so easily accessible in Latin America. So often we will see volunteers doing back-to-back programs. So absolutely possible. We just require a separate application and then the fees associated with each program. Let's see. Is Machu Picchu an easy commute from Lima? So it is a bit of a commute. We don't, I mean, it is possible to book it through the program, but you would need to book your own transportation independently from Lima to Cusco. That being said, our local team in Lima, as Anshuli would have experienced, they are absolutely incredible and supportive, and you can lean on them in terms of, assistance with bookings and whatnot, but that portion of it is done independently.
Yeah. And they're very, they have the expertise. They've been doing this for a while. They know exactly how to get you where you need to go. So, trust them, trust the process.
Cool. All right. And then we got a question about Spanish immersion as well. Are these great program options for people who want to immerse themselves?
Absolutely. Peruvians obviously speak Spanish, and, primarily they have a good level of English a lot of the time, and they really appreciate, taking the effort to sort of speak English, but also when you take the effort to sort of speak Spanish with them. Personally, when I went, I only had very basic Spanish, but I was still able to, communicate, and I learned a lot while I was there. There are a few sort of times and evenings in both of the locations where, I was sitting with some of the locals and just sort of asking, different phrases or how to say certain things, or how do you say this in Spanish, or then they would talk in Spanish and I would see how much of it I could understand, and then vice versa. It's a really lovely sort of language exchange, and then obviously in Cusco you can definitely do like Spanish lessons to sort of help boost that, but yeah, learning some basic phrases before you go, and then the Peruvians are just very welcoming and very accepting of you just attempting to speak their language, so don't feel hesitant or worried about that at all.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight into these two programs. If anyone has any further questions about these, continue to pop them into the chat. We can try and address them at the end of the session if there's time, and if not, we can always get in touch with you directly. But now we're going to move on and have a chat with Terri, who recently visited Jamaica and our newest program, Trinidad and Tobago. So Terri, tell us about your tropical adventures.
Thanks, Kata. All right, so Caribbean, it lived up to its name entirely. When you think Caribbean and you picture those white sandy beaches, the turquoise waters, the incredibly warm atmosphere, and just, you know, bursting full of culture and vibrancy within the communities, that is it, and I totally experienced it, and it was absolutely incredible. Both Jamaica and Tobago were fantastic. So first up, let me jump into Jamaica. So this was the first place that I visited, and yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It's a larger island than Tobago, so there's a lot more, I guess, like going on. It's a lot more vibrant. The communities are really just bustling everywhere you go, and so our project is based in the parish of St. Mary, and the local team there, they have their own, I guess, like property, which they stay on the property as well as with the volunteers. And there's let me just jump onto the next slide over here. There we go. I'm jumping ahead of the slides. So the local team are just absolutely fantastic. They are supportive. They are on the ground with you every step of the way. They're just absolutely incredible with just guiding you straight from the moment that you arrive, right through orientation, your projects every day, the extra activities and your free time. And if you so happen to not book that ahead of time, they're able to even support you in that. And any questions, they're always there to help out with anything that you need, and make sure that your experience is just smooth sailing and safe and incredible experience. So the accommodation, as I said, it's on the family property, which is in the parish of St. Mary. And there's quite a lot going on in the area as well. So the accommodation is right down the road from a local beach, which you can walk down to and dip into the ocean, cool down on one of those hot afternoons. And the rooms there, so they dorm bunk style, shared house where the volunteers stay, which has got obviously the bunk rooms, which you're paired up with the same gender. And it's very safe. It's a very social setting where you have a communal kitchen and dining area and lounge, and right on the property it's just this little oasis. It's fantastic. There's a hammock between the trees. There's like a little pool pond where they have some fish. The property has a dog on there as well, which is just so friendly and cute. So you get to have some dog cuddles. And yeah, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Right at the top of the property is also this very social setting area, which has just got this just very atmospheric lighting for the evenings. And up there, that's where you can socialize. There's a lot that goes on. They do the orientation, your meals, if you join the dinner plans. So for that, so meals included is the breakfast, which is your basic, you know, tea or coffee, your toast, your eggs, and there's also food within the area if you want to go purchase some meals at local restaurants. Otherwise, there's also a dinner plan, a dinner plan for the week from Monday to Friday, if you wish to sign up for that. Which honestly, the food was absolutely incredible. I went along with the meal plan, and the cook comes there on property. You get to really experience local foods. The famous jerk chicken, you get to try that. There's local plantain. There's so many local foods that you get to try out, and the flavors, so you get to really immerse yourself into that experience. And also takes out the stress of trying to figure out your own meals, or like having to keep going to the supermarket to buy some food, which you can obviously if you choose that option, you can cook for yourself within the communal kitchen. It's supplied with all sorts. You know, you got your gas stove, you got your kettle, you got your microwave, so you have everything to cook for yourself if you wish to do that instead. However, I would recommend the meal plan because that was delicious. And they do definitely cater for all dietary requirements. So that was really useful. It was amazing if you do have any sort of I guess needs when it comes to your food. So as long as you just mention that within your application beforehand, so then our program managers are able to touch base with the local team and they can prepare ahead of time for you. Right, so the project's on offer. So we've got 10 wonderful projects. Each one is so unique in its own experience, and it's just everywhere you go, everyone's got so much warmth and personality, and they're so welcoming no matter which project you go to. Let's see. So the first one I can chat on is the child and youth development, as well as special education and childcare. So those ones are, they work with quite a few different schools within the area, and you really get to have like hands-on experience, really make a difference in the children's lives. They were so welcoming when that came, and the children are just so excited to see the volunteers when they arrive, and are just so, you know, they're really, really enthusiastic and energetic and so engaged with the volunteers as well. So so going to these projects and you know, creating like impact within the classroom experience is just it's fantastic. They're just really welcoming, and it's great to really connect with them. The animal care and veterinary care projects, so they're based at a local veterinary practice, and this veterinary care, for example, is a great project to have, like, I guess, real hands-on experience. The team there they give you so many opportunities to really learn while you're on the project. So whether you come with skills or you're wanting to, you know, really get into this career path one day, or if you just have a real I guess, a keen interest in working with animals, it's a fantastic one to get hands-on experience. You learn so much while you're on the project. She even, you know, instructed me while I was there on how to do a few certain tasks, which I got to, you know, just help and assist her while she was doing that, which was just fantastic, and it's such an invaluable experience while you're on those. And the sustainable agriculture and community development. So this was fantastic. We went to a goat ranch, which was one of 3, I think, in Jamaica, but she was so successful. She has this sustainable goat ranch farm, which is it's incredible how she's just built it from the ground up. And you get to assist on all the tasks within the ranch there. So it's, you know, these sort of things don't stop at all. There's no holidays, there's no weekends. It's just constant go, looking after the goats, the animals, the farm itself. And also she's a true businesswoman. She started this on herself, by herself, and has grown the business. So she's also needing help with the business development, whether it's helping with the website, the social media. But yeah, you really get to have a fantastic experience with her, and she's just also such a character. So lovely to work with. While I was on that project, I even she taught me how to milk a goat, which was really cool. So yeah, it was a great experience. All of these, you really just it's really immersive within the culture, and you really make an impact no matter where you go. And special education, just to touch on that. So some of the projects, the special education would be integrated within some of the I guess normal schooling as well. So there is that I guess crossover sometimes, which can be really, really beneficial for the children, but also yeah, also for you as volunteers to work on that. So let me jump on the next slide. Sports development. So I can say that that's when I went to volunteered and visited the project. I got to learn that at this one specifically, sports development, so the physical education, it actually does not run at all unless volunteers are on this project. So the children absolutely adore it when volunteers come and do the sports development project, because that means that they can go and actually have this physical education, and they love it. They have so much fun with volunteers. It's outside. It's just a beautiful setting amongst palm trees as well. But the kids are just really energetic. So if you feel very energized and you're passionate about sports and helping children, I guess, like just be active and learning all sorts of different sporting skills, then this is a great one for you. So I've already spoken about the business and community development, and there are certainly all sorts of other, I guess, people and communities that we work with regards to business and community development. What I can mention is one of the ladies that we that a couple of years ago had assisted in helping build a business with her jams and produces. We've helped her since then over all these years, and to this day she's even helping out with one of the extra activities, which is the cooking classes. So we've helped develop her business from real startup all the way to this, like, I guess, multidisciplinary business, and she's just grown her business a whole lot further because we've just kept on assisting her through the years. So it's incredible to see the long-lasting impact that the volunteers have had within this project itself. And Christmas break. So on this project, you get to really help, I guess, communities during the Christmas period that wouldn't necessarily, receive gift parcels or have a lot of assistance or food during this time to help celebrate the Christmas time. So you get to really help, like, put together parcels, hand them out within the communities, and just really help bring some Christmas cheer and just bring some festivities into the I guess, lower communities which wouldn't have an opportunity to do so. Free time activities. So Blue Hole excursion was absolutely incredible. It's this small walk through this absolutely gorgeous, dreamy little forest area with this river that goes down, a whole lot of different tiers and lakes and pools, and it's a beautiful walk where you have Jamaican music through the whole experience. You've got these waterfalls and terraces, and it's like this, I guess, you're just walking through this jungle experience and getting to these waterfalls, and it's got this platform which you can jump off into the water. So it's a really gorgeous experience. The cooking class is held at the accommodation, and like I mentioned before, so it was one of the women that we had actually assisted from many years ago helped build her business, and it's developed to this point that she's doing cooking classes. So of course we're helping support her business as well, and she's an absolute character. You will just love her to bits. She just makes the experience just an absolute incredible time, and you get to I guess, cook some local cuisines as well. So you get to learn how to create the famous jerk chicken dishes and all the additional sides to it, and eat it at the end as well. So it's a really, really cool experience. The reggae and dancehall class. So that was real groovy. So we had one of the famous Jamaican dancers come and give us a lesson. So he uses all the latest dancehall and reggae music and teaches you all the latest dance moves. So it's a real cool experience to, I guess, socialize with your fellow volunteers and really immerse yourself within the culture. And then of course there's other add-on activities which you can do in your free time, which I didn't have the time to experience this time, but I have spoken to other volunteers who have experienced the Green Grotto Caves and Luminous Lagoon excursion, as well as visiting the Bob Marley Museum, which is in Kingston. So those apparently are also must-do bucket list items that you should go and experience while you're there, and you will not regret it. Trinidad and Tobago. So this, so let me just jump to the next slide. So this is definitely for those who are looking for a lot more of a relaxed, more of a cruisy, laid back island style. And what I can say about this is just, it's gorgeous. If you're wanting a bit more of a relaxed atmosphere, just warmth and beautiful beaches while you're making impact on your volunteer project, this is definitely a gorgeous place to visit. It's one of the smaller islands, so you've got Trinidad and Tobago, and it's the smaller island of the Twin Islands. And yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Flying into Tobago itself, I guess the accommodation is about a 5-minute drive down the road, and it's walking distance to a whole lot of bars and cafes, beaches. So it's just a great spot. Here we've got the local team as well. Again, absolutely supportive. They're incredible. They assist you with absolutely everything on the ground. They're also based at the location, at the accommodation. So if you ever need anything, any assistance, any help with organizing the things outside of your volunteer project, they will be happy to help, and of course walk you through everything every step of the way, from orientation right through until the end of your stay. The accommodation, so this is in a volunteer apartment style accommodation. There's a gorgeous pool there as well, which is nice to dunk into on those very hot afternoons once you're back from your volunteer projects. And the apartment style, so you've got a bed there, you've got a little kitchenette, you've got your bathroom, there's a TV in the apartment as well, a little balcony. And yeah, so it's a great spot, like I said, walking distance from a whole lot of different vicinities, so I'm absolutely very safe. The moment that I arrived, I was just greeted with friendly smiles, a whole lot of enthusiasm. There's a saying which is lambing and vibing, which just encapsulates the great enthusiasm and excitement of the locals there, and just the culture is absolutely spectacular. The foods are also really cool to experience, really interesting. There's such a variety. It's, I guess, like an amalgamation of all sorts of different styles, which have come through the Caribbean. And yeah, so there's a lot of I guess, how can I say it? So there's a lot of like plant-based foods as well, so it's really good with catering to dietary requirements as well. There's a lot of different unique flavors which you get there too. So what I would suggest is, when you're there, definitely try out all the unique flavors, the different dishes, because it's really, I didn't experience anything food-wise what I'd experienced in Jamaica. You think that they're going to be very similar, but no, you get totally different experiences on either island, and absolutely delicious. You can eat your way through every single day on a different dish. It's fantastic. There's also things like rotis, which you might be familiar with, and seafood is also a really big part of the food across there, so you can get to, I guess, try out different seafoods. So the projects on offer, so we've got 6 projects there. We've got women's empowerment, teaching and school support, childcare, animal care, sports development, and marine conservation, which is currently under construction, but keep your eyes peeled, because we're hoping to release it again very soon, as we just creating a whole, a fantastic experience for our volunteers. So under construction, but wait, give it a moment, and we'll come with it very soon. With other projects, so same over here with the sports development. Kids don't get to really experience physical education classes unless volunteers actually come in and participate on these projects. So this is a very unique experience for the children as well as the volunteers, and the kids absolutely love it, which is because they just don't get to do it often. So it's a really special project. The animal care is also at a local animal shelter, so you get to help and assist with all sorts of, I guess, tasks and activities and duties that are at the animal shelter. Things from helping assist I guess the vets, if you've got those skills and knowledge, looking after the kennels which they're in. You help train the animals and exercise them, the grooming part of things. So if you're an animal lover, this is a fantastic one to get involved in, and just really impart some skills and some knowledge and some love to the local animals which are really needing it. And the children, again, I don't think it really matters which island you go to, whether Jamaica or Tobago. The children are just absolutely loving, so excited to see the volunteers, just bursting with smiles and enthusiasm, and they just get really involved with volunteers. They love every single moment that they have with them. So it's really incredible to see how excited they are, and the children were really well behaved on Tobago. So yeah, it was really cool to see. So, and a woman empowerment project. So those are wonderful, where they help to assist women locally that are either in abusive situations or really needing empowerment sessions to get themselves off, feet on the ground. It helps. There's one that has a program which women can go through to just help with that empowerment, help supporting them through situations that they're trying to get out of, or just work through, and really give them the skills and knowledge to, go out and be independent women, that they can do things by themselves. The one that's more of a refuge in abusive situations, they've got incredible facilities where they help assist with resources on how to approach these situations safely. You help support women through this transition period. It also supplies a place for them to go if they're needing some space from this abusive situation. And yeah, they've got incredible resources there. They've got all sorts of things like books. They've got some self-care, equipment there, so you can wash your hair, you can blow dry it while you're getting assisted, and some internet, which you can go on and do what you need to do. So these are just fantastic projects to make an impact while you're there. Free time activities. So the Booker Reef tour and Night on Pool boat tour was an incredible experience. So that is the Booker Reef is this reef that is very close to Crown Point, where the volunteering is based on the island of Tobago, and it's very popular there. It's a huge reef at the moment, and the boat basically kind of goes around it. It hops between different islands and beaches which are in the area, and it is a real vibe when you're on there. Everyone is just really happy, loving life, excited to, visit these different stop-off points that you go to. The nylon pool part is basically this sand bank which is in the middle of the ocean, which they stop the boats and they allow you to jump out, and you basically look like you're standing in the middle of the ocean. It's incredible, and you get to really just jump out and enjoy the moment over there. They've got if you don't want to jump out, there's a glass bottom of the boat which you can look onto and actually look down into the reef, which is incredible. And there's a little part, like a little island, which they stop off at along Route 2, which is called No Man's Island, which have a lot of vendors and stores with local foods which you can try out. So another good opportunity to try local foods there while you stop off. And it's quite a few hours, and it's amazing in the sun. You make a whole lot of friends while you're there as well, and so it's a great experience. The clear sea kayaking or bioluminescent sea kayaking. So you can either choose like a night or day experience. So during the day, it's this clear sea kayak, which you go and you paddle over reefs and you look at the gorgeous fish in the waters and amongst the reef. And at night, it becomes this bioluminescent experience, which is totally different to during the day. And they've got these neon lights on the boats as well. So it's really, really cool. No matter, I would even recommend doing both day and night, because it's just totally different. And then of course in the area there's so many waterfalls, and of course with it being the Caribbean, there's a whole lot of gorgeous beaches to visit. The blue clear waters. There's a lot close to the accommodation too. So you got Store Bay, Pigeon Point, the Buku Beach as well, which is near the reef as well, and of course old forts and caves. And at Store Bay Beach, that's also one of those opportunities where you've got the plane flying right overhead. So I know that can be a little bit of a bucket list thing for some people. So that's one of the places that you can actually go do it at. It's not the US, you can do it right there at Tobago.
Wow. Well, I know where I'm booking my next trip. Well, thank you, Terry. That was awesome to hear about your experiences. And I'm seeing so many questions coming through about things like the application process and whatnot. So we will get to that. But there's a few questions specific to volunteering that we'll just touch on really quickly first. You mentioned dietary sort of restrictions. Those can be facilitated no problem in those locations. Same goes for the Peru locations, Anshuli, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. You just tell them what your dietary requirements are. It's the same sort of concept, and they're really happy to accommodate it. I know that I was there. One of the girls maybe had a bit of a stomach situation. She wasn't quite, agreeing with the food, so they gave her something else just to help her sort of through it. So they're very flexible, and they want to make sure you eat, and you will eat. So yeah, you absolutely can tell them what you need.
Amazing. And we're getting lots of questions about things like arrivals, SIM cards, communication while you're in country, things like packing lists. And what I'll say to that is once you are registered onto the program, you'll gain access to this amazing program guide that is pretty much all encompassing in terms of helping you to prepare for your trip. So it will cover everything from specific arrival instructions, where you meet the local team, SIM cards, what the pickup looks like in terms of the local team meeting you, like I said, packing lists, really everything essentially to get you prepared. And I know that program guide was really helpful for you guys in your preparation as well.
100%. And I think I totally understand, everyone's nervous and you want the answers to these questions, but we've had volunteers go before. We know exactly what it is, that the information that you want, that you're looking for. And even myself, I read the program guides and, when they're going, oh my God, did I read it right? All of the information, it's very helpful, it's very clear, and exactly, you get all of the answers that you're looking for about where to meet them for arrival, where you're going, how to get SIM cards, what the currency is, how much you might need in terms of budgeting. I know a lot of people are interested in that. It's very much, and it's very easy to digest, like all the different headings in the program guide, so you can kind of look for the information as you sort of need it.
And the great thing too is if the answers aren't there, or you might be a bit confused about the information we've provided, that's what your program manager is here for. They're available to you throughout the week, and they can answer any questions you have about your trip. The other question that's commonly coming through right now is about volunteer hours. So typically for our programs, you can expect Monday through Friday placements. The first week, obviously Monday is your orientation, and then you would work Tuesday through Friday for half a day, usually about 3 to 5, sometimes 6 hours, depending on the location. And then your weekends are yours to use as you wish. So yeah, really great add-on, adventure, tour options available through your profiles. Again, you'll gain access to those when you're registered. But if you have any questions about anything like that, definitely touch base with either your program manager or our inquiries team, and we'll be more than happy to help. So now we're just going to touch quickly on fees. So obviously each of our programs has a registration fee and a program fee associated with it. The registration fee basically secures your spot on the program, and it really provides you with access to not only your program manager, but those pre-departure tools that will aid in your preparation. You have a dedicated manager specific to your destination. They are travel experts in those destinations. They visited the programs. They work with the local teams on a daily basis. So they really are your go-to outside of things like your program guide and your pre-departure tools. The registration fee also grants you access to a lot of our travel partners. So partners like insurance, flights, things like that, we can definitely help you to sort those out, no problem. We have great training modules that are available if you're a first-time volunteer and just trying to wrap your head around the whole situation and what to expect. So that basically, that covers that sort of pre-departure service offering that IVHQ encompasses. And then the program fees, That's what we send to our local team directly, and that covers all of your in-country services based on the offering that they provide. So things like your meals, accommodation, airport pickup, orientation, the 24/7 support that the local team provides. Can you tell it's Friday here in New Zealand? They are available to you 24/7. So if you need anything, there's a point of contact in country, and they are more than happy to help. It also supports the local community and gets you discounts to things like your add-ons, your language lessons, things like that. So yeah, those are the fees. The fees range depending on the destination, really based on the cost of living in that location. So you can see, for example, in Lima, you're looking at from $23 per day. In Trinidad, you're looking at $62 per day, but there's so much that's included in that. So it's a nice combination of volunteering and tourism opportunities through the program. And last but not least, the application process. So it's super simple to apply once you've figured out where you want to go. And if you do need help figuring that out, we have an amazing inquiries team here in the office. Again, they're travel experts across all of our destinations, and they can really help you to narrow down those options. Once you have determined a location or multiple locations that you want to travel to, you just submit an application through our website. If you're a first-time volunteer, will prompt you to create essentially what we call a My IVHQ profile. And then from there, you can submit your application. And that process really takes 5 to 10 minutes tops. It's super simple, super straightforward. All we ask is that when you are submitting that application, you include as much information as possible so that our local team can see your skills, your experience, your interests, and they can pair you with a placement that's specific to those based on the project that you've applied for. Then once you've applied, we usually process that within 24 hours during the week. It's a little bit longer over the weekend because our office does close, but we'll get to it right away first thing Monday morning. And then you can secure your spot by registering. And we have a few different tiers in terms of registration fee that you can choose from. If you want a bit of flexibility, we have a fully refundable option. If your dates and everything are secure, we have other options that you can choose from, but all of them sort of allow a lot of flexibility for you. If for some reason there's a cancellation or you need to make a change, that's no problem at all. We can certainly help you through that. Your other option, and this is particularly important for our busiest time of year, which is typically May through to September, you do have the option to pre-authorize your registration, and that bumps you to the front of the line, which is a really great option, particularly in those busy months, because programs tend to fill to capacity. So if you're applying now, it's very likely that by the time you travel, that program will fill to capacity, particularly in our European destinations and in our Latin American destinations as well. So pre-authorizing is a really great option to sort of skip the line. We process those as soon as we get into the office in the morning, and that's basically securing your spot right away. Again, you've got levels of flexibility depending on the registration fee tier you opt for, but it's a really, really great option if you're planning to volunteer during that busy season. Amazing. What a great session. Thank you guys so much for joining us and telling us about your experiences. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's so amazing to see some of these names that I recognize from, emails and whatnot. And I know that everybody will have enjoyed what you had to say about the program. So amazing job. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you do have further questions, please feel free to get in touch with our inquiries team. If you haven't applied yet, you can reach them at info@volunteerhq.org. If you have applied, even if it's not for these destinations, just shoot your program manager an email. They can answer any questions you have, and yeah, we can go from there. We hope to see all of these names in applications in the next 24 to 48 hours. And yeah, if you have any questions, just touch base. We'll look forward to working with you. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks, Kayla.
Thanks, Kayla.
Bye.
Bye.